What is good, all of our listeners and viewers? Welcome to the final episode of Games and Groceries. My name is Adam.
And I'm Liz.
And I hurt my shoulder while sleeping. Woo! This is the final episode before we go on a few months hiatus, and we want to have a discussion with you. Woohoo!
Woohoo.
No segments today.
Nope.
Just want to have a little bit of a chit-chat talk, just to come into this and, chat with you guys about everything.
Mm-hmm.
So like we said before, like we've said in the past couple episodes here, we're going to go on hiatus for the next few months. And when I say few months, the next episode might not be until like November, maybe.
Yeah.
So we're going to take our time with it. But, the first half of the show, just want to have a discussion with you guys and gals and, everything in between. But I thought a good way to send off will be with a mustache. Ooh, yeah. If you're watching this on video, my mustache is back. And also with a little bit of a pineapple kombucha. What do you think? A little celebratory pineapple kombucha, which Andrew Orsi, I tried to explain to him. Oh, no. Which I try to explain to him. I thought I was about to fizz up what kombucha was, and I did not sell him on it as mushroom tea. That's also
really what it is. It's fermented mushroom tea.
It is fermented mushroom tea. That's all it is. And this is a pineapple. Oh my goodness.
Is it good?
It's welcome to the final episode, everybody. So like we said, I just want to have a little discussion of why we want to go on this hiatus and what we want from Games and Groceries in the future. It is coming back as soon as, I kind of hinted that we're going to go on hiatus. Of course, the Discord people, shout out to the Discord. Link is in the description down below. They all said like, oh, we hope you're coming back. We hope you're coming back. And, there was thoughts of just like, is this working? Is it not? I don't know. But, it is working for the most part.
Yeah.
And it's working not in a way where people just say like, oh, man, do you have 1 million subscribers? You can't think of it like numbers like that. Are you making impact in people's lives? In terms of impact, are you just making people enjoy your stuff?
Yeah.
That's it. And people are enjoying the stuff. And I'm glad you are along for the ride. I'm glad you're here for the journey. And it's not just me on this team either. I won't even say I do all the legwork. I mean, Liz does all the editing. Floki explores the studio. Okay.
Go lay down.
He is just exploring as if he's never been to the studio before.
Well, he napped all day.
He did nap all day.
And he napped during What's the Biz when we recorded that last night.
Yeah.
So, he missed his exploration time.
Yes.
Making up for it right now.
He is. But Liz, how has been your experience here on Games and Groceries? Like you came into it, episode 1, just not knowing what it was, and you kind of came to yourself about this.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Every time we listen to the first episode, I'm so grossed out by myself. I remember when you brought the idea to me, I'm like, okay. I don't play that many video games. I don't know how useful I'll be. And that hasn't really changed.
Right.
I definitely do play video games more now though. And I'm more interested in them. Like I'm more interested, like even if I don't want to play it myself because my skill set just aren't for it, there are some that I'm like, I want to watch you play it because I'm interested in the story. I usually don't get around to actually watching you play it, but that's besides the point. But I've definitely grown in my quote unquote gamer status. And even in my like editing abilities, definitely like I had like basic knowledge when we started. Like I was kind of just going off of what I learned in the one video editing class I had in college. And now, I mean, I've done more than I thought I would be able to do since we started. And yeah, I've definitely grown in both aspects. And I feel like I talk more than I did when we started.
Definitely
I have more of an opinion now than I did when we started because I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, when we first started this was back in 2017, 2018. I want to say 2018.
2018, because
Yes.
2017 we had just moved to Long Island.
Yes.
So it's 2018.
And we started it because I wanted to make an impact in the video games industry, but I also wanted to spend time with you. I wanted to do a project with you. And, we came up with the name Games and Groceries. We wanted a name that sticks with you, but also has implication of what the show would be about, which is, we buy games, we buy groceries, we're adult gamers, and that was pretty much it. We our whole lives revolve around games, groceries, games and groceries.
Yeah.
It's the yin and yang of adult responsibilities, where we all need games, we all need groceries. So, but we started this in terms of just talking about video games, but then it became a little bit more than that when we started to bring on guests. And that's what I started to see that I really want the show to be about.
Yeah, when we first started, we didn't intend on having guests on. Like, it was going to be like a very rare thing. Like, when we found someone we liked, like, oh yeah. But then it like slowly turned into like almost every episode is a guest, and then you have the rare few in there that is just us.
Exactly.
Excluding, like the recent couple months.
Yeah, the recent couple months, there hasn't been like new guests. There's always been kind of, somewhat new fan favorite guests, just because I got pretty tired from work, and I still want a guest on. I still like the dynamic where we have a guest on the show, but my schedule every single week to every single month with contacting a guest and making sure that they can make the show, and it would be kind of like a weekly thing, like, oh man, would you like to be on the show? And I want to bring new interesting guests on every show, not just kind of repeat guests, which isn't a bad thing. I just wanted the listeners to have a new perspective.
We want to offer more, basically.
It was definitely not something I thought Games and Groceries would become. I never thought Cheapy D would ever come on the show.
Oh my gosh.
I never thought that Dan Hutton would ever come on the show. I never thought Katie Bentz either. I never thought RGT. I never thought I would talk to him on the show. And it's just all these crazy people. But then I made some great friendships from this. Of course, fan favorite Andrew Orsi.
Oh my gosh,
of course.
Yes.
Andrew Orsi, he came on multiple times, but then also Dan from Greatest Story Ever Played, made a beautiful friendship with him. We had, a great fans on the show. Now, of course, Nikki every time has been the trooper of our fans.
Gosh, yes.
So, through thick and thin, she has been there for us. And I appreciate her for all of that. And I'm not trying to say all these things to say that, like, oh, wow, I need to get us all off my chest before the last episode. We're never coming back. And I'm going to get into what I want to see in, Games and Groceries 2.0.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just, I'm very appreciative of everyone who's been listening, everyone who's agreed to be on. But when I've had more guests on, there's definitely something I've wanted for a long time. But the show has been on such a strong format where it's just like when you try to go off of it every single week, it's kind of hard to reformat a show when one week you're just trying to like fill the format. I don't have my notebook in front of me, but Liz, you want to kill some time for me?
I'm not good at filling time. I can't even get that sentence out.
So who was your favorite guest on the show?
I don't know. Didn't we talk about this earlier? Why do you need your notebook? Why couldn't I go get your notebook?
Because what was your favorite guest?
I really like when Andrew comes on, because I still remember the first time we had Andrew on. We got off and Adam's like, "Oh, how'd you like it?" Like. And I was like, no, I think I like vibed with them really well. Like, me and Andrew like agree on a lot of things, and we just kind of like, I don't know, like he was a good addition for his first, when we did his first episode with us, and I enjoy every episode that he's on. And so Adam's back, yay!
You also like Dan Hutton when she's on.
Yes, she was very fun.
But yeah, so every single week, I try to fill out different things. I'm going to go into like another show because my paper ran out of space. But basically, what I do every single week, and if you're watching this on video, hi, how you doing? And this is going to kill the... Sorry if you're watching this on video, but this is probably going
to mess with the white balance for a couple seconds.
Sorry for that. But There we go. So you can see right here that I'll have certain sections every single week, and I space out the pages to be movie minutes, and I have section 1 here, movie minutes, and I take notes on the movie that we're watching, and I write down these notes, and I'm like, okay, section 1 is done. But then I have this section, this giant section right here, which is the top 3 gaming news, and I have take number 1, 2, 3, and then I put them in order at the end of the week. And each one I have notes on each section of that gaming news. And then this final section down here, right here, this big space is the topic question. So what I'll do is I come up, and this is anybody who's trying to do a podcast like us, because we're
amazing.
We're amazing. We got. I'm the role model of all podcasters, is what I'm trying to say here. No, not entirely. Not entirely. Hey, I turned to the one with Corey Schmitz. Corey Schmitz. I couldn't believe he came on. I wanted Corey Schmitz on since the day we started the podcast. And when he agreed to be on, I was just, I was floored when he said, yeah, totally. Sorry, a little sippy break. But, so I fill this out. Like I said, I have the notes for movie minutes, and I have the notes for gaming news here. And down here, I have the general topic, and this is going to go behind the scenes here. And I promise I'm going to go into your social media answers. I promise you. But I have the general topic. And when I'm thinking of a topic every single week, and this becomes almost homework for me every single week, I try to think of a broad topic that I can space things out on. It can't be just why I'm excited for Metroid, and
it has to be something that we can talk about for at least 30 minutes.
And that's the other thing, is that that's another example. I never go off of why I'm excited for XYZ, why we're excited for XYZ. Our top games because here's the thing, and this is just going off my topic. Nobody cares about me.
Yeah.
Nobody cares about us in the grand scheme of things. When we're putting our show out there, nobody cares what our specific opinions are. They want the general topic, because nobody cares when I'm talking about what's that.
We're not big names, so no one's gonna tune in to listen to two strangers they don't know with no credentials about our opinions.
So that's the thing. I try to think of a big topic. And when I brought on Corey Schmitz, the topic was, are game logos actually important? That's a broad topic. And so I'll have 5 different subsections. 5, and I usually have 6 because I leave space for social media answers. So I'll have the questions down here. I'll start with 1, 2, 3. I'll have 3 topics to go off of. 3 topics, 3 questions, and then I'll go right to social media answers. And then I'll have a kind of a bridge to the song, if you will, kind of a bridge, or right before the outro. And then I'll have closing thoughts, kind of a final question to leap into closing thoughts. Sometimes I'll have it, sometimes I'll skip it. All this to say is that every single week I'm contacting guests. I am thinking of the movie for movie minutes, the top 3 gaming news, the topic. So this is just an every week kind of thing. And after a while, I just start to run out of steam. And not to say that it exhausts me, but it's just kind of one of those things that something's missing here, and I think we can make it better. But again, when you're rolling off of, okay, but I got to write out the notes for this one, and I only have a day to think about how to reformat this.
Yeah.
It becomes difficult to really think about how this format should go. And so that's why we kind of went off of 154 episodes.
Yeah.
Kind of this format. Now it's changed here and there.
Yeah.
But most of the time it has been movies, top 3 gaming news, and the topic with a special guest. And okay, I am going to let you talk, but
that's okay.
The other reason why, oh my goodness, phone. Oh, nope. Okay. Anyways, so the other reason why I have it like this and a guest at the end is because I adore Conan O'Brien. And I loved Conan O'Brien when I was younger, and I loved, especially, late night television and all that stuff. But I absolutely enjoyed when they had segments, right?
Mm-hmm.
They opened up with kind of an opening theme or an opening act, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just, a cold open almost. And then they go into different segments. They maybe have a video segment or this. And then at the end, they have an interview with a special guest, maybe two. And then they'll outro it out. But I like the segmented parts. And I like that about the late night shows. And I want to format Games and Groceries to be like that. But it doesn't necessarily work for podcasts. And it doesn't work when I have a full-time job.
Yeah.
And it's just oh my God, I have to format this. And it's literally we release the episode, and on Monday I'm already thinking about what's the topic. Mm-hmm. Do I have a guest lined up? What's going to be the game news? What's going to be the movie minutes?
Yeah.
And then Liz, your editing kind of goes into homework mode as well.
Yeah. On the weekends, I know, all right, Saturday I'm going to edit, and it's not all day, but it's something where I'm just I gotta get to it sooner rather than later.
Yeah,
because it's gotta render and export and upload, which does take the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all right, well, if I want this done today, I'm gonna start by 9, so I kind of don't get to enjoy the weekend basically. Right. And then during the week I'm editing Evolve videos usually.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's not that it's I don't know. I don't feel like I put in a ton of time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it, when you work a full-time job and your weekend is all you get, it does take out a chunk of my weekend.
Yeah. But that's all I have to say is that I enjoy doing Games and Groceries. It's just that I know we can do better. And there might be a burp gang coming up, and I'm trying to feel it out right now.
Probably because you're drinking something bubbly.
Yeah, it is bubbly. I will not do burp gang just yet. But all that's to say is that I know we can do better. And that's the thing, is that I enjoy the guest segments. I love when we have guests on. Oh, hold up.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Oh, burp gang. There it is. Thank you.
So proud of you.
Thank you. But I know we can do better. And the thing is that I know everybody loves these segments with the guests.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the segments with the guests. Liz loves the segments with the guests. And we want it to be more guest heavy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it would free up more time for us.
Yeah.
Doing it like that, but doing it in seasons. Now, I have ideas. I do.
Yeah.
I've talked to it with Liz, and she also agrees with it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say it on the show just yet.
And you're not going to, because you're not going to spoil your own thing.
Well, it's not even about spoiling. It's about promising something that
exactly. But I know you, and I know you're still tempted to go into detail.
But I want it to be more focused, and I'll go into why I wanted to be like this. And I want it to be more like a What's the Biz? It's our other show, What's the Biz?
Yeah.
Find it out, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Links
but kind of the same format.
Because here's the thing. I valued a lot when we had a guest on and we kind of derailed from the topic at hand.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some great information that we got just from having conversations with these people. The biggest one that I can think of, and in terms of something that just blew my mind away, was when we had Patrick Hickey Jr. on. And we were talking and the topic at hand, and it was a great show. I still value it. I still value everything about that subject. But I really loved when I asked the question hey, this is just off the cuff. You sound like a really busy person, but you're a successful husband, successful, father. How do you balance everything while also, taking time for your wife and your children?
Mm-hmm.
And his answer was just fantastic. And what I'm trying to say is that I don't want to go off of, a set topic anymore. And I think I just want to free it up to be a lot more conversation.
Yeah, like a topical conversation, but
Sure.
not like something where it's like we're going to talk about this specific subject.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I liked preparing my guests, and I think my guests appreciated when I was prepared for them. Like, oh, what should I talk about? What should I do here? And I had a list. I would give out the list that Tuesday. Like, hey, we're recording Friday. Here's a list, so you know what we're going off of. This is a general thing. This isn't in cement or anything like that. This isn't written in stone. But just so you're prepared. But I value the things when we were off the rails of the topic. And the camera one's off.
Oops.
But I just enjoyed those conversations. And like I said, I have ideas, and I want to make it still a really good show for everybody. But right now, the Games Groceries, the way it is right now, it's just a lot for two people who have full-time jobs and still want to focus on their marriage. It's just a lot. And it frees up our time to watch movies that we just want to watch.
Yeah, we don't have to be like, well, we still have to watch Movie Minute, so we don't really have time to watch the movie that we want to watch.
Right. And really, Games Groceries, the biggest thing about Games of Groceries is that we want to do something as a married couple that builds our marriage. And Games Groceries has done that.
Yeah.
But we still need, I would like more free time.
Yeah.
With our marriage.
Spend to get, more. It's not like we want more free time so we can like sit apart and do our own things. That, too, in a way, but like we want more time to dedicate to each other. We want to be able to go back to date night and go to the movies. And like we said before,
we do,
like,
it's just
less frequent.
Yeah. And I would like to blame 2020.
So would I.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, and like we said before, we want that time to also explore our new hometown.
Yeah.
Because we're moving to a whole new place and we want that extra time to explore it and see what's going on there.
Now, I would like to also put on the record, is our marriage in crumbles? Oh no, Liz and Adam are in shambles. Oh no. No, it's fine.
Absolutely not.
It's more than fine.
Ew.
What? I was just get your mind out of the gutter.
Bad Adam.
What the? No.
Bad.
Anyways. Oh, sweating. Woo. Anyways. But no, it's not that I'm concerned for our marriage, but
we just really love spending time together.
Yeah. And anybody that is in a relationship knows that the most important thing is to focus in on that marriage, that relationship, whatever you want to call it. You got to focus in on it. It takes work. Relationships take so much work. And it's not a bad thing. It's just to be aware of yourself.
Yeah. You have to remember to spend time together. And that gets crazy sometimes and hard. But you have to like remember like that's the main thing you got to do.
So if you see something that is a potential breaker, you gotta step it before it gets. If you just see a little crack on your windshield, like I'll get to it later. Eventually, that crack will go boop, and you're not gonna have a windshield. The windshield is the marriage in this metaphor, and the crack is crack. But all that to say is that we enjoy our time on this show. And I know I've been talking for a good while on this. But all this to say is that I enjoy doing this podcast and I enjoy podcasting, and I want to do this with my wife.
That's me.
That's you. And even eVault is a project with Liz and I. I may be doing all the talking, but Liz is every single piece of editing that you see in a eVault video. That is all Liz. I may think of the topic. I may think of, write the script and all that. I may think of the direction sometimes, but Liz
you might give some notes, but
yeah. But Liz does all the editing, which is a major, thank you, which is a major, undertaking for especially me. I suck at cameras. But all that to say is that I want to do a project with Liz. And I'm not sure if you feel the same way about this next thing, but I don't so much care that if we get famous off of podcasting, I don't so much care about that than what it is to say I care more about building a career that we can do together.
No, I 100% agree.
You
like,
know?
fame is always like that thing that everyone wants. And I don't know if I want fame, more of I just don't want to have a normal job.
Mm-hmm.
Like, getting recognized, I feel like is going to be like so cool the first time it happens.
Sure.
But it's not like the main goal. Like, we've always said, like, we're one of those really weird couples that we would pay any amount of money if it meant that we could work together, like have a business or run something together. So yeah, that's our goal. I'm completely on point with that. Like, I want a job or a business or whatever we're doing. I want that, what we're making our living to be done together so that we can spend all that time together. Yeah.
I just want to do this so that I have more time together.
Yeah.
And
with our future family.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is that I want to build this legacy, but build it with Liz.
Yeah.
There's other projects of my own that I would like to work on, but ultimately, I just want to have a career that we can still be together. I don't want to work a 9-to-5 and only see my wife on nights and weekends.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want that. And I don't want that for our future, which is why we're building this. This is why we're working to make it better for not fame, but just really just so we can build this not only for our marriage, but also for the audience here. The final thing I'll say before we go into the social media answers is that the main thing, the second main thing, because as I said, marriage. But the reason why I want to reformat is for the audience. And I want to bring something of value into your life.
Yeah.
I don't want to be seen as just some indie podcaster doing video games. And, we're just a gaming podcast and we just talk about video games. I don't want that. I want you to come into Games and Groceries and you click on it because you know it brings value. And I don't want you to click on it because I'm your buddy at Games and Groceries. Sure. Thank you for being my buddy.
Adam loves having friends.
I love having friends. You're all my buddies. Twofer, Commander Nikki, Game Simp, Playway Podcast. You're all my buddies. And everybody who I did not mention, and you think, you might be thinking, well, Adam, are we buddies? Maybe. Depends. Oh, that's so mean. Yeah, you're my buddies. But I want you to click on Games and Groceries specifically because you're going to click on it because it brings value to your life. Not maybe, objective value, but a value of your time. I want you to click on it because for the next hour or so, it's going to bring in a good format of your energy and time. It's not a waste of your time is what I'm trying to say. Because we're competing against people like, Min-Max podcast. We're competing against any podcast of that sort. The Game Informer podcast. I'm trying to think of podcasts that are pretty popular. CADcast. And not competing in a way of I want them to be destroyed, but you might ask yourself, why am I listening to Games and Groceries when I can listen to Min-Max, when I can listen to CADcast, when I can listen to another big podcast? I don't really listen to big podcasts. But I want you to turn on the podcast because for a fact it's going to be worth your time.
Yeah.
So that's why we're doing this reformat, and that's why we're going to do it in seasons.
Yeah.
Like seasons 1, season 2, season 3, just because what that season will give you. And it gives us time, it gives us breaks and all of that.
So we don't run out of steam.
Right.
Like we have now.
Exactly. But I also want you to know that oh man, the season's here. I'm definitely going to be, looking into that.
Yeah.
I want to bring value to your time. But that's just it. If you have any other questions about why we're doing this or anything I said, or if I insulted you in some way, I guess, feel free to tweet at me at Ace the Grocer. I'm at Ace the Grocer.
And I'm at Journey First.
There we go. But yeah, you can tweet at me at Ace the Grocer. You can reach me there. You can reach me at Gaming Groceries. I also run that. I also run the Instagram. That
He runs any social media or email.
Yeah.
So unless you're tweeting me directly,
yeah,
you're talking to Adam.
But but it's just that I want to bring good conversations to the video game industry, and I want to bring value to your life. And I want it to be a project that me and Liz can do. And that's why we're taking a few months to really think about it and really plan it to be a way of simplifying it, but also maximizing it, if that makes any sense. So,
and also taking time for each other.
Exactly. I want to bring it back to you guys. So we have a few answers here. But in our last social media topic that we're going to do, I asked you the question on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Discord. Why do video games matter to you? And again, we're doing this reformat of the show because we value the video game industry. We value everybody that's doing their part and bringing video games alive. We've had great guests on, such as, Nick DiPaolo, who's making his own game. We've had, people who are into the retro space and trying to preserve video games, like Josh and Doug from Limited Run Games. We had them on. We had Eon Games. We had the two Justins from Eon Gaming. I loved them. We had, of course, Patrick Hickey Jr., but we also had Dan Hutton, who was a voice actress for Life is Strange. She played Kate Marsh. We had all these people that are bringing video games alive, and we value video games. We love video games, and we love the industry, and that's why we're doing this format, to bring value to video games as well. But I asked you on social media, why do video games matter to you? So I'm going to first go on Twitter, and we have one answer on Twitter, and the rest of them are on Discord, and we'll go back and forth between the two. So why do video games matter to you? And I thought this was a very interesting answer from at Fluthermuckin, I guess, at Fluthermuckin. They have to say, because it provided an outlet and a form of escapism growing up. In recent years, you can see representation that you only rarely saw in the 90s and the early 2000s. As a kid, the first trans and gay representation I saw in gaming was .hack//GU, which I've never heard of until you brought it up. And then they actually liked the tweets, and I was like, oh man, I gotta check that out. And now look what we have. They continue by saying, we still need more gaming representation of queer people, especially of trans people. But we've got more as a community in spite of the gaming community. Side note, .hack//sign was my first encounter with queer, specifically trans, protagonists in media that wasn't centered around making gay stereotypes like Will and Grace. And yeah. And yes. Okay. So when we were watching the making of Schitt's Creek, they started to say that, when we're watching, gay representation on television, usually it's, we found love in each other, boundless, we had to jump through so many hoops. But in Schitt's Creek, they just made love.
Yeah, this is the relationship.
Yeah.
There's no problems.
Yeah. I mean, there's problems, but not in a societal sense.
Yeah, but not in, the way of, because they're in a gay relationship.
Right. So I wholeheartedly agree with that answer, especially with, and I've said this before. I said this so many times. I hated how Tell Me Why was exclusive to the Xbox. And everybody's saying, because Xbox published it. I understand why.
That's such an important game.
Yeah, I understand why it was. I really do.
Yeah.
But when we're talking about an important game like Tell Me Why, when we're talking about the struggles of trans people, and the struggles of different Alaskan people groups.
Mhm.
Oh,
like it was
man.
educational on so many different topics.
It was such a great game, and
Yeah.
it was just exclusive to PC and Xbox. I hated that. But we had, if you're wondering, we did have, it's just the dumbest idea we've ever had. I love the guest that we had on. I don't think the guest ruined it. But oh man, when Dan from Greatest Story Ever Played suggested, like, hey, since Tell Me Why is coming out weekly, why don't you do like a show where every single week you talk about the Tell Me Why episodes and have a guest? Well, he didn't say guest. He just said,
We put that on ourselves.
I was like, wait a minute, that's a great idea. I can have a guest and they can play the episode. And oh man, was I exhausted.
We were so tired because those episodes were much longer than we anticipated them being.
So
we didn't sleep.
So we do have a Tell Me Why series where we had Andrew Orsi, where we had Mike Ketty, where we had, oh, why am I blanking on his name? Oh, no. No. Oh, I feel like a horrible person. Oh, no. Okay.
I don't remember last week.
No.
So I'm useless.
Oh, no. I'm going to feel like Chris. Oh, shoot.
Chris something. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Thompson?
No. Yes, Chris Thompson. Thank you. It was Chris Thompson.
I did it. I was helpful.
Oh, I felt like such a horrible person. He was so awesome.
He was.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
I wanted to have him back on, but he's going through some personal life issues at the time. It was 2020.
Yeah.
I think about that guy all the time. He brought a great presence on the show. So did Mike Ketty. So did Andrew Orsi. And then Katie Benz came on the final one to the final discussions of everything. That was great. But yeah, it was such an important game, and yet it was only exclusive to the Xbox. But again, talking about Fluther Muckin, it's a way of representing yourself. It's a way to go into a story interactively and, escape in that. And now they have representation of what they are, and they can relate to the protagonist instead of, a cis male or anything like that. But what do you think about that? Any thoughts?
Not really.
Oh.
I don't remember the whole answer. Like I remember like the basic of what he said.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think it's great to have representation in games. But why stop smiling at me?
I'm not smiling.
Cuz I'm trying to like figure out something to say and you think it's hilarious.
Well, I agree with the answer.
Yeah.
But let's go into the Discord and
let's do that.
Let's start with GameSimp. You can read GameSimp's answer.
Okay. So GameSimp says, video games matter to me because they are a small part of my identity. Like any hobby, when you become invested in something, it becomes part of you. Games matter for a plethora of other reasons, such as sparking creativity, revealing the beauty and horror of our world through other worlds, and simply offering entertainment. But I think these all connect back to identity on some level. Much like all things that are important to us, video games influence who we are. I completely agree with that. Because like you said, like it's a hobby, it's this, it's that, those things do go back to your identity. Because like when someone says, oh, tell me about yourself,
right,
I would say, oh, my name is Liz, I like to do like DIY projects. That's a hobby, but it's what I use to identify myself.
Right.
So I completely agree.
I still remember the men's group I was a part of in the church.
Oh no.
And
we
watched this one video and I hated this. I lasted 2 weeks in this men's group and I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
But they showed a video where his wife was getting an award and she had an award ceremony and she's like, oh, Chuck, Chuck, I don't know. Oh, Chuck, are you ready? Are you ready? And then Chuck is here. My man's is in his boxers and an untucked shirt and an undone bow tie. He's like, oh, wait, gotta get to the next level. Saying that, oh, real men don't play video games. Oh, oops. Real men don't play video games, but here I am. So then we went around the circle in the men's group.
Yeah.
And then they said like, oh, let's all introduce ourselves and what hobbies we like to do.
Hi, my name is Rick. I'm basic because I like to fish.
Nothing wrong with fishing,
Yeah.
but you're basic. And then, the guy's like, oh, I like to, watch sports on ESPN, blah, 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 all basic. And then it came to me. I was like, hi, I'm Adam. I love playing video games. And they're like, ha, ha, ha. Like I was joking. I was like, nope, not joking.
Yeah.
I do a lot of video game playing.
And believe it or not, he doesn't ignore his wife either.
Wow.
It's like they automatically believed that like you play video games, so you must be a horrible husband and ignore your wife.
So it goes back to the identity that all gamers are ignorant of their wives, and they just do not look at other responsibilities.
Others.
But it is a part of your identity too. Is that, hi, I'm Adam. I'm a Christian. I believe in, our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Also, I'm a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
And watch their faces turn.
Wow. Anyways, but yeah, it is a part of your identity. It is part of your hobbies, but it's part of who you are. It's just like how you introduce yourself. And I won't even say the identity of just saying like, I identify as a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
I think that has a lot more depth to it. But when we're trying to introduce ourselves, hi, my name's Adam. I love playing video games. Also, I'm a trash bag human being. So it is part of our identity. I'm from Philadelphia, so
that is also part of our identity.
yeah. So part of me saying I'm a trash bag human being is actually true.
No.
So go Eagles. Anyways,
Yes.
so I want to read Volt Supreme's answer.
Woohoo.
Why do video games matter to you? Volt Supreme has this to say. I honestly believe that, quote unquote, video games have a potential of being the greatest form of art ever. While I don't think video games will ever or should ever replace other art and entertainment mediums, video games are pretty much at the point where they can do everything the other mediums can do or more. You want amazing storytelling, like in books and film? Video games can provide that. You want amazing art that's 2D, 3D, sculpted, photographed, hand-drawn, painted, architecture, etc. Video games have it. You want to listen to amazing music? By the way, Volt Supreme is a music artist that also designed the intro song and outro song to this very podcast. He also does the music for Adam's Ascending, which is an upcoming game. He's also done other indie games, so check him out. You want to listen to amazing music and sound design? He also does sound design. Video games have it. If you ever want to experience amazing acting or voice acting, video games now have it all. Video games can then step things up a billion notches when you consider that the player can potentially interact with literally all these forms of art. I can go on and talk about the more obvious game elements there are, how there's so much variety when it comes to gameplay and game genres, but I think I've expressed my main point about video games being the ultimate form of art. The possibilities are endless. So yeah, when he's saying that it is one of the greatest forms of art, and what have I been saying this entire podcast? Video games are art.
Yep.
Video games are art. Liz, what do you think about his answer?
No, I completely agree that like video games cover all the bases at this point. Like it's kind of awesome how you see like video games growing. It has like major actors in them. I mean, even like a couple generations ago, they were starting to get certain actors in, but now it's like, you got Keanu Reeves in a video game.
Yeah.
Who saw that come in?
I was just listening to Logic before we went in here, and Keanu Reeves came. I was like, I'm the one. Okay, anyways.
He's getting around.
Keanu Reeves?
Yeah, to like all the different types of art.
Oh, well, like he's... anyways. Yeah, Keanu Reeves is getting everywhere.
Yeah.
You're breathtaking, by the way.
Thank you.
That's a Keanu Reeves reference.
Oh, yeah.
You just took it as like, yeah, it makes sense. Adam thinks I'm breathtaking.
Oh, I'm so sorry for taking a compliment from my husband and thinking that he meant
You're
it.
breathtaking.
No, you don't mean it, though.
I do mean it.
No, you don't. You were just quoting Keanu Reeves.
I'm choking.
You're such an idiot.
Babe, you took my breath away. Your breath. You might say that your breath... taking. But yes.
You're the worst.
I'm not.
You are.
Anyways, So yes, I do believe that video games have this powerful medium where you can interact with the art. You can really listen to the video game. Okay, can I make a point? Can I make a point? I think video game music is better than film music. Oh no, Liz, is it because of my hot take that I thought video game music is better than film music at some points because it's more interactive and adaptive and it actually serves a purpose sometimes, especially with Cadence of Hyrule? Oh, no!
Doesn't make a difference to me. I don't really pay attention to the music.
Oh, what? Lizzie.
I've said that before.
But yes, I think that video games have this great power to be this great interactive art with storytelling, acting, choices, all these different things. It has it. So I agree heavily with Volt Supreme.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't you go ahead and take it away from Nikki's answers, because Nikki doesn't like me reading answers anymore.
That's because you read fast.
That's
and
because
I read
I'm
slow because I
I'm
can't.
a rap god.
I read slow because I can't see anything.
I'm Busta Rhymes.
Okay, so she said, and that,
Yes.
pointing up,
To
ladies, probably just one other besides me, and gentlemen, is why I always try to answer first, unless I have a very clear opinion. Because now I'll just feel like my answer will be lame and inadequate. It's not lame and inadequate. Why do games matter to me? That's both an easy and hard question. Hard because I feel like I have to prove myself, even though I know that I don't have to other gamers and to people who don't understand gaming. Because why do games matter quickly goes to why do I play video games? A little escapism, mostly entertainment, and most important, the immersion. It makes me feel like I'm part of the world instead of just watching it. Choice-based games even take then a step further, and that's why I love those so much. Video games tell stories in ways other mediums couldn't take a game like Abzu. I don't think it could work in that way as a movie, not even a real artsy French one. Games like Minecraft let me live out my creativity while still giving me some kind of adventure. Rewatching shows and movies can be fun, but replaying some games is worth it. We call that replay value, and it can be many things. Different play styles, Skyrim, Fallout, Mass Effect. Different outcomes, Life is Strange. Another couple letters, I don't know the word. I don't know what that means.
Where are you at?
DBH. Mass Effect, and Enhance Story, Oxenfree. So many games tell such amazing stories. Some have mechanics that help tell the story, and some games let me enjoy two things at once, listening to podcasts or watching something on the side while exploring in Minecraft or just shooting and traveling in an action game. And then there's the fan base, lots of amazing video game podcasts, fanfic, art, theories, video essays, and a lot more. That and probably a few things I'm blanking on or have already been mentioned is why games matter to me.
Detroit Become Human.
Yes. Good job, babe.
Thank you. Yes.
There we go.
What do you think about her answer?
I agree. Sorry, I'm just trying to remember what I just read.
You were the one to read it.
Okay, listen.
Okay.
When I read, I am not paying attention to the words I'm saying. If I tried to do both at the same time, it would take me half hour to get through that.
By the way, can we go back in time to when you were in third grade and you're just following the paragraphs and teacher, the teacher's about to call on you, like, where's the page? Where's the page? Where's the page? Adam, read. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. Help. And then I pee. So going back to that.
Anyway, but yeah, I agree. Like there's so many different styles and ways to play and ways to enjoy. And like, I didn't play video games before, like when we first got married, because I'm like, oh, I don't want to play shooter games. Like it just didn't interest me. But then you showed me Life is Strange and showed me like there are games that don't require skill. It just requires you to just play through and make choices or small skill. And it's just like, oh, like there is a game for everyone if everyone was willing to give it a chance.
Right now, the video game I am so sunk into is MLB The Show 21. But also, the game I'm really sunk into and I'm so mad at myself that I haven't been playing it since it's come out, is the Return of Obra Dinn.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. It's such a cool game. It's such a cool concept for a game, too. And all you do is you're just trying to connect the dots of what happened, what occurred on the Obra Dinn, who died, who killed who. But you're also just, it's such a cool concept. But that's the thing. You can call it a walking simulator, but you're interacting in a way that I've never seen before in a game.
Mm-hmm.
Or seen in a way like this. And that's the thing. Like she said, it's choices. You're in it. You're actually interacting with the story. You're making the choices. Your time is based on your skill, not only just your skill, but like how you want to approach the game. Because of course I look up how long to beat this game. But I take that with a grain of salt, because for me, like 8 hours could be 16, right? Or 8 hours could be 4 if I hate the game. But that's the thing. You can just explore. You can understand better. You can really put yourself into the shoes of the protagonist and all that. And it has such a deep, meaningful stories to it. And games let me enjoy two things at once, like listening to podcasts. Oh, thank you. Like this one. Yeah, any other thoughts on Nikki's answers?
Not really.
Nikki, thank you for being a trooper on this show. Also on What's the Biz. She does live tweets of What's the Biz. So I thank you for that. But yes, I do agree that video games have this power to really encapsulate you into the world like no other medium can do. Like a movie you can appreciate and you can really rewatch it. Like, I don't know, off the top of my head, Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. What? Have I seen that 10 times? Probably. Yes. But a video game can really just make you feel like you've experienced the world, like Skyrim does, or, different outcomes, like she said, with Mass Effect, Detroit Become Human, and Life is Strange. I really do agree with all of this. Or enhanced story, like Oxenfree, which you should all play.
Yes.
So I'm going to take it down to Dan's answer, which, Dan, how you doing, man? You doing good? Cool. So Dan has to say this. As others have said, I really enjoy the stories from the Greatest Story Ever Played podcast. So he talks about stories from video games. I really enjoy the stories, the characters, and the worlds of video games. Another thing that I love about video games is the people I've met because of them. Dan,
aww,
that's me. Getting to share and enjoy games together has been so cool. I've loved getting to talk on podcasts with people. That's me, because you've been on our show three times. 3 times?
I thought it was only twice.
I think it was 3.
Maybe it was 3.
2 or 3. Interacting online and more. My gaming experience is much richer because of that. So you get to interact with people. You get to really connect with people because you're sharing these experiences with people. And video games are one of the great, collaborative projects because you get to speak to other people that enjoy the game. You may be speaking to the developers. You may be speaking to people who did the music and just appreciate them on Twitter or wherever and stalking them at their houses and whatever. No?
No.
Oh, boy. I'm going to be in trouble. But that's just it. It's the interactions that we have with people. Liz, what do you think? Any thoughts?
No, I mean, when it comes to meeting the people, that's it's one of those cool things when you find a hobby or something that you really enjoy, you can look for a community in that. And even though the gaming community doesn't have the best rap,
yeah,
there is a really good group of just a good community of gamers that at least we've created for ourselves on Twitter, where we just have this group of this just community of gamers, whether they be YouTubers or just fans, and just want to have good conversation about games. And you can just meet all these people. We've gotten so many friends doing this podcast about video games, and we just have these friends, people that we meet at LI Retro that we've become friends with, really good friends with. So absolutely,
yeah, I've met some great people through video games. I've met most of, if not pretty much all of my friends through video games. I did not meet my wife through video games, not at first, but my wife was introduced
We
to
met
video
in
games.
history class.
Yeah, we did,
Mm-hmm.
and I beat you every time.
Hey, Adam.
Oh
How did your phone get off of vibrate?
no! Oh, magic. Anyways, but yeah, I've met a lot of people through video games, and I cherish those relationships that I built. And you know, like I said with Dan, I value his friendship.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew, if you've seen me and Andrew on the video game trivia, you can tell that
Y'all are the worst.
we're the worst. But I value my friendship with Andrew, and I value my friendship that I've made with a lot of people through this podcast and through video games, right? I may have social anxiety and I may not talk to you a lot because I have said social anxiety, but I value you and I value our friendship. So, Liz, why don't you read the final answer from Andrew Orsi? Andrew.
Everyone wrote novels this week.
Except for Dan.
Except for Dan. I
And
appreciate
GameSim.
you, Dan. And GameSim.
Wow, Liz.
I appreciate the other ones. It's just, y'all wrote a lot.
Wow.
I'm not complaining.
No.
So I love how Andrew starts this because I didn't read this whole thing when I saw it come up today, but I was like, I just saw the first paragraph. I'm like, that's fun. So he says, yada, 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 what everyone else said, all that jazz, stories and escapism and engaging you with art and providing leisure and everything else that has been said really eloquently here. But also, I think video games has a historical medium of art are the most fascinating and clearest indication of so many parts of our culture. Want to know how fast technology was advancing in a decade and how much people were pushing the boundaries of the new capacities of computers that year? Video games are such a good indication. Want to know the cultural mindsets of people, the stories that are resonating with people, which show where personal values are sitting in that moment in time? Play, data, and stats and online discussions of games will be such a clear indicator of that. I'd be willing to bet if you were able to chart the games people have played in 2020 versus the games they played in 2018, you'd see a very marked difference. Video games can serve as a cultural and historical marker of where things stand in the world. And if I had actually followed through in my history major in college, there's a good chance the academic paper I'd be writing currently as a professor at whatever university, I'd be analyzing modern history and trends through the lens of gaming culture. I so agree. This goes back to Adam's theory that he says a lot on the show of video games as an art will always mimic what's going on in the world. And so you'll always see that in games of what's going on, what's big right now, what's going on in the world, and what's popular. You'll see that reflected in games. And like Andrew said, you see that reflected in conversations on social media about games and how we talk about games and what we prefer to play. You'll see where culture is at that time based on what we were playing. So I completely agree with everything he had to say.
Yeah. Like what you're saying, I completely agree with Andrew in terms of it's a historical set piece. It is a time capsule,
Yeah.
where you can see, and this is, okay, so I was talking to this about Liz, that I really do want to get into retro gaming. I really do. But one, I don't have the money for it.
Yeah.
I don't have the money for it right now. And the other thing is I don't have the space for it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say well, you got to make the space, but you got to understand we constantly move.
We move. We've been married 5 years. We're moving for the 4th time.
5 years.
And we're not moving to a place we can stay in forever.
Yeah.
So we're going to move again.
Once we finally purchase a house, I might, get more into retro games.
Yes.
But that's the thing is that I appreciate retro games and I get them whenever I can. But that's the thing. It is a time capsule.
Yeah.
It is literally a time capsule that should be appreciated and preserved. And I love what Eon Gaming is doing, which I would love to talk with him again.
Yeah.
I talk to Justin every now and again. Justin's a good person. Justin Skirbo. And, oh, my goodness. Can I just talk about, going back to Dan's answer, talk about people I've met in video games.
Yeah.
The people from Eon Gaming, we're talking about Justin Chow, Justin Skirbo, and Justin Chow's dad, Alan. When I talked to Alan,
Oh my gosh, that man's got vision.
I heard his vision about what he wants to do with. I'm not going to tell you because he said like, oh well, I don't want this out in the public. It is mind blowing.
Mm-hmm.
This dude has vision. Both Justins are just incredible people.
Yeah.
I valued my time with him. I wish I could like talk with him again. But of course, LA Retro. That's the only time we get to see them because they're traveling everywhere. But Eon Gaming, they're such good people. But they're preserving video games through the actual console. They're actually letting you do HDMI through your GameCube, through your Nintendo 64, hopefully someday your Dreamcast. But that's just that. But they are preserving through that. They're preserving these time capsules. And that's the thing. Retro gaming should be a historical set piece and saying that, like, what was popular at the time? What were people thinking about? Back in the 80s, back in the early 2000s. Back in the early 2000s, we had nothing but war games because what was going on? War!
Yep.
What's going on right now? We're getting more skateboarding games. Skateboarding is becoming way more popular. It's entering the Olympics soon. It's becoming much more popular. Space games are becoming more popular. We're seeing games like Starfield, Mass Effect Legendary Edition, that is. We're seeing a lot more space games. Why is that? Because of Elon Musk, or because of SpaceX, because of NASA, because of interest of space.
Yeah. And even we talked about this the other week with politics. You're seeing more political based games.
Yes.
Because the younger generation that's playing video games are very political. So they're very willing to play games and are very interested in games that hit those big points in politics.
Yeah. So I agree with Andrew that I think video games should be a historical set piece, be seen as a historical time capsule, because they are just that. They are an art form, like what Volt Supreme said, but they're also a history lesson, like what Andrew's saying. Video games are such a great thing to look at, to preserve, to be appreciated, and that's what we want to do in the reboot of Games and Groceries. See that segue there. But that's how I want to kind of end the show here, is that I asked you on Twitter and on Instagram and on Discord why video games matter to you is because I want to reboot Games and Groceries to make sure that, I make sure that video games are appreciated. That video games and the people who design them and the people who represent them are appreciated. And I want to make Games Groceries in that fashion. And I hope it comes across like that. Maybe season 1 won't be the greatest season to ever come around on podcasts. But I want to make sure that people are appreciated for the work they're doing in video games, because I value video games. Video games matter to me because, and I guess we'll end it like this. Why do video games matter to us? So you can think about your answer. I know you need time.
Okay.
But video games matter to me because it was my form, not of escapism, but my form of understanding. It was my form of appreciation, because I grew up in, a divorced household. I wouldn't say like, poor Adam, divorced household. It's like you're 50% of the nation. The violin, whatever. I don't care. But I was going in between houses. My dad wasn't the best person. And video games was my form of social interaction, because I was socially awkward. I had depression and I was going through a lot of issues, but video games, settled me down. Video games allowed me to just focus in on that one thing, right? It allowed me to interact with it, but it also gave me time to interact with friends in this kind of way. Of course, I went to single moms groups and the boys that were part of, the single moms, that we all had these struggles, but we all loved video games too. And it's just my form of social interaction. Video games matter a lot to me because it was my entire life, like from childhood to now. And video games played a big part of who I am today. And I want to appreciate video games in the best way possible. and I want to make an impact in the games industry because it's made a big impact on me, if that made any sense at all. But video games matter a lot to me because it grew up with me. It made me grow up, I guess you can say. Even though, when you grow up, you gotta let go of video games. Shut up.
This is not the community for that type of conversation.
But Liz, why do video games matter to you?
First, I want to clarify. I loved everyone's novels. I appreciate your all your passionate opinions.
Games and Groceries PR on the spot.
That was my little social anxiety worrying that you all actually thought I didn't like your words. I love all your passion, and I love that you wanted to let us know everything. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Anyway, so from video games matter to me because, I mean, as anyone who's been listening for a while knows, Adam's the one that introduced me to them, showed me that I was able to enjoy them and play them, and showed me what games to go to that I would enjoy. And we started this podcast. So it's like video games for me, it's like they matter to me because it's like what has brought like a new level to my relationship with my husband. Like that's another thing that we can bond over. And as many of you can probably tell when we talk, like we don't have like the same opinions on everything. I mean, even listening to Movie Minute sometimes, like we both watch the same movie. We might rate it the same thing, but for entirely different reasons. So video games is just another one of those things that we can discuss and we can bond over. Like we might disagree on what we like to play or if we enjoy the same game, but it's something else that we can talk about and bond over, because before I got into video games, we didn't talk about them because I didn't know what he was talking about. I was like, yeah, so happy for you, babe.
Yeah.
Go you. Whereas now, like, I understand what he's saying. I can, we can have a full conversation of why he's annoyed about this happening or that happening, because I understand the industry more. I understand how video games work and why and things like that. So that's why they're important to me, because it's like, get to be with my babe.
You missed me.
What?
But I love you. I said you missed my cheek. You got my headphone.
Well, I can't really get to your cheek because your headphone.
I'll give you some help. There we go. Thank you. But yeah, like I said, I want to build this podcast to be with Liz more often. I want to build this so that we can do this together and not just me. And that's the thing. My dream in my life is to go away phone.
Is to learn how to silence your phone.
You can see Floki in the second cam here.
Oh, little Floki baby.
But yeah, so but that's the thing, is that I want to build this to have with my wife. And I want to build this not for glamorous fame for Adam, because oh man, I have social anxiety. Please don't touch me.
Same.
Anyways, but I want to build this with Liz, and I want you guys to have value over this. And fame means very little to me. I like being the center of attention because I'm an only child, but
I've been working on it.
But I really do want to make this in a way of like, I get to spend a lot of time with Liz. I get to make a project with my wife. And I want to do that and have this be our career. So, but that's basically why we're doing this reboot, why we're going to take a pause for a few months. And I hope you enjoyed this last episode that we have for you. And I'm going to clean up this YouTube channel. If you're watching this YouTube channel, I'm going to clean it up a bit. Maybe mess with the logo, maybe mess with the color scheme a little bit. But I want to make it more conversational and calming. I definitely want to make it feel more like Games and Groceries 2.0. So when you come to this YouTube channel next time, none of the videos are going to be deleted. Maybe they'll be privated. More of the lines of just, I'm just trying to clean up the channel a little bit to make it more room that Games and Groceries 2.0 can exist on this platform.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to like look and subscribe to a new channel. I want you to come back to Games and Groceries thinking that, oh, it is still Games and Groceries. It's just
new and improved.
Yeah. Now, the audio version, maybe there's a new RSS feed. I don't know, because there's no real way to clean up an RSS feed. So Maybe there might be a new one. It might be still under the same name, Games or Groceries. So if you're subscribed to that, I will keep you updated. So subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're listening to us on audio. So that's the best way you'll know. By the way, if you're not subscribed, you can still subscribe on the YouTube channel so that you know when the comeback is coming back. And any kind of information about what we're doing, or definitely going to put out a trailer explaining like what's happening. But yeah, I want to reformat the show so that it's more of an appreciation for the games industry. And I hope I can make it as good as I imagine it to be.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I can actually convince all of you that it is worth your time. That's it. And I hope you come back for it. That's all I'm saying. It doesn't mean the end. It just means that we need time to think about this, reconstruct this, and simplify it so that it is as good as it can, but also gives us time to do things that we love to do.
Yeah.
Because again, my main focus in life is my marriage. That is my absolute primary focus in my life, is to make sure my marriage is, sustainable. I've been a part of a family where, my dad wasn't, he didn't put that much work in. My mom put in all the work into marriage, and I don't want to be my father. Yeah. Am I getting real right now? Yeah. Sit down. I'm going to get real with you. But that's just it. That's why marriage is my most... It is my priority. It is the priority, not one of my priorities. It is my priority in life to make sure my relationship with Liz is there.
Same vice versa.
Thank you. But that's...
I don't want everyone to think that like you put all the work and I'm just like...
No, I'm not trying to say that. Like I said, I've seen too many marriages where the men don't put in the work for their marriage, and all the women just put in all the effort. I don't want to be that.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you. But I want to be with you more often, and I think this new show will help that.
Yeah, definitely.
It's going to minimize it, but also maximize it. Yeah, I'm coming after you, min-max. I'm coming after you, and you're a great show. I'm sorry. I love your show. But anyways, that's just it. That's all from me. I hope you'll come back for a bit. But Liz, do you have any final words?
No.
Oh. But just be sure to know that links are in the description down below. We also have a second podcast called What's the Biz? That's going to keep on going. It's a lot like this, where we're just like talking, we're ranting, blah, 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 and we're riffing off of each other. It's a good show. It's not about video games. It's really about anything. So link is in the description down below. What's the Biz? We also have a second channel, eVaults. We're going to be continuing that as well, but we're just going to be reformatting. Oh, gang.
My goodness.
Games and Groceries. Oh my.
Adam.
Kombucha. Woo. Anyways, mushroom tea, everybody. Would you like mushroom tea?
No.
So
no, we're not gonna sit here and talk about your mushroom tea. Give me this.
Wait.
No.
Hold on.
Close the show.
It has a trace amount of alcohol because it's fermented.
Close the show.
We thank you for watching this week's Games Groceries, and I hope you come back when we come back. Drink a kombucha, everybody. Kombucha is so good for you.
Drink water.
Well, kombucha, if you didn't know, it has a pineapple juice, it has lemon juice, it has ginger in it.
Just this one, not all of them.
Check out kombucha, everybody. It will make you burp so many times. But thanks again for listening to this week's Games Groceries. We hope to find you in the next one. And we value everybody that listens to the show, watches the show, and we hope to find you back here. I just want to let everybody know, and we say this all the time on What's the Biz, that God loves you. Jesus loves you. You're valued in this life. You matter to this life. Don't ever think to yourself that, oh, I don't matter. Nobody loves me. Nobody cares about me. Because one, I care about you.
I do too.
But also God matters. God loves you and you matter to him. And that's it. That's all I got to say. But with all that said and done, thanks again. We'll see you when we come back. Check out What's the Biz. Check out eVault. And we'll see you when we come back.
Bye for now.